Hello everyone, it's really a pleasure to be with you today and in order to taste together some Pinot Nero 2017. Hello from La Morra. I'm actually just came back from the vineyards. There is the sun shining high and the spring is definitely coming, so the vineyards are starting, and luckily we avoided the frost for the moment, so at least we have some pro in this 2020. Basically, I wanted to spend just few words about why we have the Pinot Nero, which is something extremely rare in the area, and then we will go through the wine. So I am located, this is the Barolo DMGA map, and I don't know if you can see it very well, but basically this is all the area of Barolo, and we are here in Serra Denari. So Serra Denari, as you may see, this is on 3D map, so you cannot see it, but it's very easy to see how my estate, which is exactly here, is in the highest point of all the Barolo appellation. In fact, we are here facing west, so facing all the mountains that we have on the other side. I don't know if you came once in your life in Barolo, but basically we have on this side on 180 degrees all the mountains, and between me and the mountains there is absolutely nothing. So there is the plain and then the Alps. This is why over here we are at 530 meters. The vineyard starts at 530 meters and then goes down until 450. So it's a very old estate, because it's an estate that is here since 200 years and is from my family since 200 years. But it has always been the countryside house, because it's a property that it's made by 6.5 hectares of vineyards, but 12 hectares of forest. And back in times there was the forest that was also bigger than what we actually have today. Then there were some vineyards, some hazelnuts, some all the different kind of culture. Always been the countryside house, because my family was living in Turin, so this was just the countryside house, and they bought it at the end of the 1800s. The first one who came here living all the time, it was my grandfather when he went on retreat. And he went on retreat after he was the manager of the Olivetti, the typewriting machine company, which was pretty famous in Italy. And just before the death of the founder, he came here on retreat, and he was obsessed with truffle, because in our 12 hectares of forest, historical forest, we can find some truffle. So obsessed with truffle that he took off all the old vines in order to try to have some white truffle in an artificial way. So he explanted all the old vineyards, and he planted all the trees for truffle with all an irrigation system, everything made really in a cultural way. Then it was not really succeeding, and in 2001 when he died, my father, who made completely other stuff in his life, he decided to replant everything with the vineyards in order to sell at a higher value. Actually, he was living in Rome, he still lives in Rome, my mother lives in Palermo, so we are all around Italy, and he decided to replant everything with the idea to resell it at a higher value, because we know that nowadays we are around the value per hectare of Barolo is pretty high, so he decided to replant it for this reason. But then he was not able to sell, and he founded Serra Denari. Serra Denari was the MGA that I show you, but before being recognized as an MGA are our crew, as the crew in France, and they've been recognized in 2010, and it was the historical name of the estate, of the hill. So Serra Denari literally means keep the money, and it comes from actually today it's a actual story, because it means literally keep the money, because when there was the Black Plague in the Middle Age, all the people living in the lower villages were looking for the more healthy air, so they went up to the highest point all over the Barolo appellation, and with the few money that they had, so they made this walk going up with the few money and their few money under their arms. So they came here in Serra Denari, and this is why it's called the Serra Denari. So if it worked once, maybe it will work also this time. We cross the finger. And so we planted everything, and the first consultant was the one who wanted on the north exposed part the Pinot Nero and the Chardonnay. They are also the two wines and the two vineyards that were the reason why I've started on making wines, because my father wanted to take them off in 2010 after only 9 years, and for me it was not worthy to make an experiment so short, and he told me, if you want to do it, you make it, you sell it, it's your matter, I don't want to no more be on it. And so I made like this, and I've started my own project that was Giulia Negri project. So there were Serra Denari working in one part and Giulia Negri on another one. So I've started by producing a Pinot Nero, a Chardonnay, and a Barolo, a little tiny production of Barolo. So then, being the first one in the family really working in the vineyards and in the field on the production side, at the end of 2014, my parents decided to give me all the production responsibility, so taking care about the vineyards and the cellar of both the estates, so Giulia Negri and Serra Denari. Then in 2017, my father gave me also the family estate, and so it is since last year, with the 2015 vintage on the Barolo and the 2016 on the other wines, so the Nebbiolo, the Barbera, the Pinot Nero and the Chardonnay, that I merged the two estates, and I'm here today with this label. So, talking about the Pinot Nero, we will taste today the Langhe Pinot Nero 2017. So, it's really an experiment. It born as an experiment in 2011, and it is really a working progress project. So I've started, it's a Langhe Pinot Nero is extremely important because the aim of this wine, what I would like to have is to have both Langhe and the Pinot Nero on the glass. So it's extremely important because I want some terroir driven wine on one side, but also the variety to be respected. So I've started in 2011, really Burgundian way, a lot of pigeage, really Burgundian on the winemaking part, and definitely 2011, 2012 that were made like this were definitely more Langhe than Pinot Nero, so it's impossible to guess. Since 2013, from 2013 vintage, I've started on anticipating the harvest because before I was waiting too much. Then I've started on definitely vinifying more in reduction. I understood how the spells are the one from Langhe, not the one that we can have in Burgundy or anywhere else. So I've started on working definitely more in infusion than in extraction, as I make in all my wines, essentially in the Barolo. So changing completely. Then since 2016, I've started also on vinifying the 3 clones that I have separately, because I have 2 clones from Burgundy and 1 clone from Trentino, which is a region in Italy that is pretty known for the Pinot Nero. So I've started to vinify them apart when the quantity let us make it. And it is really, it took its own personality year, vintage over vintage. I'm very happy what I have nowadays. It was pretty long, but as you know, making wine is an equation with 1,000 of variances, so that are not only the vintages, but there's every single details on which you pay attention while you work the vineyards, you vinify, on the aging, etc, etc, etc. So since 2016 I'm vinifying the 3 clones separately. I make my own barrique in Burgundy at François Frère, which is a tonnelier with whom I have a very straight relationship. He comes here to taste every year, so it's really a very good cooperation. And it's a wine I make we are on the skins around 25 days on the Tronco Conical Tini. and in the tinier tank for the 2 clones that I have, a little bit less. And then it ages for 18 months in some barrique and tonneau, barrique of 228 liters and tonneau of 350 liters. I worked a lot with the lees, so in general they are always, as all my wine, I work a lot in reduction, as I was saying before. I love reduction when it's good reduction. So they are always wine that needs few time in the glasses, and while you have maybe some dinner, they open up and you discover really the wine, how it is. 2017, just to spend few words on the vintage. It was a very warm vintage year, so the challenge was more on keeping the freshness everywhere else. But here it was really the year on which being in the highest part let you think that maybe you are in the right place at the right moment. The acidity is still very high, it's very fresh, but on the other side you have the fruity part of the Pinot. And it's starting on opening up the 2017 now with the spring, so it's really very, very Pinot, which make me proud. But I'm really happy apart the roses that we have at the nose that are pretty nice. And it's also I was very worried in 2017 because 2017 was one of those vintages on which I would have loved to have some like generation and generation making wines before me, because it was very dry, very warm. So I was like, how I will vinify this wine, I don't know. And then, you know, the wine is so magic that he knows every time how to to come up if you pay attention to him. And I'm really happy because the tannins are extremely round and they are not so dry. You have tannins, it's a wine that is full, but it's not fat. It's extremely high. You have all the tannins that are in the highest part of the mouth, and it closes with the acidity. So it lets you drink it over and over again because it's also salty on the back. And for a 2017, it was a challenge, so I'm pretty happy. I would love maybe once to welcome you in the future to the winery, that it will be the best presentation ever, of course. If you have any kind of question, you can definitely ask to Victor, my email, and I will be more than happy to reply. In the meanwhile, I want to cheers for all of us, and we will get out of this period, this crazy period, and we will definitely share more nice bottle of wine than before. So cheers to everyone. Ciao.